Today, Rikee and I will be conducting a mathematics lesson integrating the digital technologies curriculum, English curriculum, and Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander priority. This lesson is aimed for Year 3 students, where the purpose will be investigating simple grid maps and Aboriginal symbolism using programmable B-bots. The outcomes of this lesson will include identifying position of maps with given information, recognising and executing a sequence of steps to arrive at a solution, programming the B-bot, practicing interaction skills such as turn taking and speaking clearly, and recognising and using iPads to view Indigenous symbolism and the real-life connections.
This lesson has been broken down into 3 activities: an introduction, exploratory activity, and a B-bot Indigenous symbolism adventure.
As an introduction to directional language, algorithms, and simple mapping, students will be asked to direct either a blindfolded teacher or a blindfolded student to manoeuvre around obstacles and across a classroom in order to reach a location. Students will quickly realise the importance of detailed, clear, and concise instructions. The teacher asks open-ended questions such as, why are clear instructions important? What are some tasks that require a sequence of steps to follow? What language are we using? Why is it important to say, move forward rather than move up? Why is it better for one person to speak at a time? How can we make sure that this happens? To gain formative assessment, the teacher will create a KWL chart on the whiteboard or on cardboard. As a class, the teacher will record what students say that they know and want to know about mapping, algorithms and technology. This will include the technology of B-bots, augmented reality application and iPads. Alternatively, the teacher could create an Excel spreadsheet for students to anonymously write their prior knowledge on. A class journal or individual journals can be created to document the learning journey. By gaining formative assessment, the teacher newly understands what needs to be modified in order to improve student learning. To begin the exploratory activity, students will begin in groups of 3. These groups will be randomly selected using an online generator. Students will be asked to collect a B-bot and travel around one of the 4 grid maps already provided. Students will be required to work together to program their robotic devices. This will encourage collaboration and clear communication. On the B-bot robotic device, the up arrow button is used to move forward 1 square. The down arrow button is used to move backwards 1 square. The left arrow button is used to turn 90 degrees to the left. And the right arrow button is used to turn 90 degrees to the right. The button with an X on it is used to cancel the whole sequence. The button with the 2 parallel lines is used to pause the actions of the B-bot. The green button is to go. Here is an example of the exploratory activity in action. Students' B-bot will begin in a coordinate such as I1. Students will be given a coordinate such as F4. It is up to students to program their B-bot to reach that coordinate. By giving students an answer rather than a question, they have opportunity to show the extent of their knowledge rather than the limit of their knowledge. This exploratory learning is vital not only for lifelong skills, but for the next parts of this lesson. It is important to gauge student knowledge, clear up any misconceptions, and understand when the optimal time would be to proceed to the next activities.
And you could use your notes if you like. Draw some arrows. Sweet. We'll make him go.
Oh no!
It's starting here to start.
Oh!
So you're adding a code on to what you already had?
Okay, get it now.
Cool. No, that's alright, that's alright. And 1 more forward, I think that'll make it. So if you add 1 more forward, And bring it back to the start. And yeah, start like that.
Oopsies.
Oh. Yeah, that's how you started. No, this is good though. So
It shows learning.
yeah, it does. So you're using the scaffolding? On the side. Yeah, you did it. Cool.
For the Bebot Indigenous Symbolism Adventure, there will be 3 roles of responsibility for each group. Each group should have a B viewer, a travel guide or programmer, and a step recorder. In each group, there will be a B viewer. This person will operate the HP Reveal app on the iPad. This will expose students to augmented reality. Each group will have a travel guide or programmer who will be responsible for pressing the buttons on the Bebot in order to give it directions to arrive at a destination. Lastly, each group will have a step recorder who will be responsible to write down all the steps to get to a destination. The step recorder needs to ensure clear communication between all members of the group. These roles will be rotated around the group approximately every 5 minutes so that students can gain, develop and show various skills. To operate the HP Reveal app and view the Aboriginal symbolism real-life connections, students log into the Universal Student account provided and enter camera mode. The shapes and symbols act as a trigger image. The application recognises this and inputs the overlay image or video over the top. This was previously created and allows students to use augmented reality in an educational manner. These technologies were chosen because they can be easily integrated into lessons, they transform learning for students, and they allow students to develop and demonstrate knowledge and a multitude of skills in a learner-centred way. These skills include critical and creative thinking, digital literacy, collaborative behaviour and effective communication. As technological fluency and digital literacy are becoming paramount, learning about coding, programming and using augmented reality supplies students with the knowledge and skills to refine and use throughout their lives. Here we have an example of the Aboriginal Symbolism Bebot adventure. For the example, one person will take the 3 roles of programming, recording and viewing. Here we see the recorder writing down the algorithm to reach the appropriate location. Next, she follows the instructions provided in order to program the Bebot. This learning experience lends itself to the use of programmable robotic devices. Once the Bebot lands on the Aboriginal symbol, the viewer can look through the iPad to view the real-life connection. This symbol represents a boomerang. As scaffolding, the teacher can use the illustration/answer sheet. This also refers to the parallel curriculum of connections. A student may raise the idea that this symbol looks like the Nike logo, soon realising that this symbol also represents a boomerang in Aboriginal culture. During the Indigenous Symbolism Bebot adventure, the teacher walks around the classroom to ensure that students understand the concepts. The teacher provides scaffolding or extension where possible. To differentiate process, provide additional scaffolding and target kinesthetic learners, the teacher can use chalk on outside ground to create a giant map. This would allow students to be the programmable devices and guide each other to a coordinate. The Relating Akara Digital Technologies Curriculum Content Descriptors state: define simple problems and describe and follow a sequence of steps and decisions, algorithms needed to solve them, and recognize different types of data and explore how the same data can be represented in different ways. The Bebots allow students to follow a sequence of steps and algorithms needed to solve a problem, and the Augmented Reality app allows students to recognize different types of data and explore how the same data can be represented in different ways. This summarises the connections between the Akara Digital Technologies curriculum and the technologies chosen for this lesson. As further extension, instead of writing arrows as the algorithm sequence, students could write forward, backward, left and right, utilising repeat loops. By the end of Year 2, Students should have interpreted simple maps of known locations, designed solutions to simple problems using a sequence of steps and decisions, and used a variety of strategies to engage in group and class discussions. This relates to the subjects of mathematics, digital technologies and English from the Australian curriculum. This lesson targets the general capabilities of numeracy, literacy, critical and creative thinking, information and communication technology, and intercultural understanding. Knowing prior knowledge is critical when lesson planning. Here we see the teacher suggesting the utilisation of repeat loops, making algorithms both simpler and easier to follow and compose. The teacher directs students through both open and closed questioning. To conclude the lesson, recap on student understanding and gather student assessment data, the teacher initiates class discussion and completes a KWL chart. Open-ended questioning, journal entries and the KWL chart will inform the teacher of what needs to be modified in order to improve student learning. A future digital technologies class could include exploring the hour of code activity, or exploring other types of coding and symbolism such as binary. Other future classes could include creating Aboriginal symbolism hand drawings in art using ICT for augmentation, or creating a map of the classroom layout from bird's eye view in mathematics. For this lesson, the resources include mobile devices or iPads, 1 per 2 or 3 students, masking tape for carpet maps, a random group generator application to assign the groups, letters and numbers for the X or Y axes of the giant maps, B-bots, enough for 1 per 2 or 3 students, Indigenous symbolism printouts for the augmented reality experience, the HP Reveal app on all devices, all logged in as the universal profile to access the footage, blindfolds, timer to keep track of the time, group roll cards, smartboard images and or instructions for the activities, and the scaffolding sheets. Here are the references.